And to no one's surprise, the Puma and the Beglite were finally nerfed. But was this deserved? Okay, I'm not gonna BS you guys. Yes, this was very much deserved. So welcome back to another Talking Head video. It has been some time since we last, well, did one of these. I do sound a little tired because I just woke up a little bit ago to get this out to you, so bear with me if I do sound a little sleepy. So with that out of the way, let's talk about some of the changes that did happen with today's major update-ish. Okay, maybe not the major update. I like to call it like that because this is something that is profoundly, well, exciting, at least for me, as a player in War Thunder, while at the same time makes it so that I'm not really going to enjoy some of the vehicles in question as much as I did before, but let's be honest here, this was very much deserved. So, first things first, let's talk about the Puma. This vehicle, which originally sat at battle rating 8.3, is now sitting at battle rating 9.0. As you can see right here, this is the list of some of the changes. The Mi-28 is now going up to 10.0, which is kind of deserved in my opinion, seeing that those Attacker 2s are or Attacker 1s, I think, are very much good missiles for their BR, and you get 16 of them. So yes, it made sense to move that down or up to a 10.0. The Beglite gets moved in from 9.0 to 9.3 in arcade, and 8.7 to 9.0 in RB. Now, this is something I'll talk about a little bit later in the video. Also, the Type 60 ATM is not going up to 6 or down to 6.7. I still think it sucks, just saying. However, I want to put an emphasis on the Puma in today's video. Now, going into detail about it, it was sitting at battle rating 8.3, which is now going to 9.0. This is something that usually happens during some of the economy BR changes, which does take a little under a month after some of the vehicles released. But seeing that this vehicle was very much overperforming for its BR, and I'm sure many of you guys might argue me that it was not. It was sitting appropriately, etc. But I'm going to be using a couple of other vehicles as, well, a good example. Now, the first one I want to point out is the Type 87 RCV, a vehicle that now sits at battle rating, I believe, 8.3, and when it first came in the game was 7.3, and you guys remember that video, right, that I did make around that same time. That vehicle was absolutely absurd. It was spanking Tigers, it was spanking Panthers, it was a very bad situation for the down tiers. And of course, Gaijin was smart enough to move the vehicle up to battle rating 8.3 because it very much deserved to do so. Now, next up, I want to talk about the CV9040B? Is it the Stratford 9040B? Excuse me, that's what it was. Again, I'm still waking up here, guys. Half the brain is still asleep. So the 9040B, when it first came into the game, was sitting at battle rating 8.3, and that everyone more or less kind of knew that was a very low battle rating for that type of vehicle, with amazing firepower, great mobility. Although it didn't really have armor, it did make up for it with the types of sables it was firing, Generation 2 thermal sights, and decent optics. I mean, come on. It's not the best, but it did make for some very good games, and those full down tiers were absolutely bully, although the 9040B wasn't exactly a vehicle everyone was looking forward to, much like you would find with the Puma hype. Yes, that's right, the Puma is a vehicle that many, if not everyone in the community, were asking for to see. Trust me, I have a very good friend who is German. You guys know you did ya, and he was going in my ear almost every update saying, when is the Puma coming? When is this coming? Trust me, he was super excited about it. And even to this day, as I think he's watching this video right now, he's pretty upset by the fact the Puma went up. Yeah, Yeti, I'm calling you out, buddy. But there is one serious question I do want to bring up, and I know many of you guys have been asking this. How come Gaijin kind of did this deliberately? You'd think over past experiences, you would just bring up the vehicle in a high BR and then decrease it from there, as opposed to bringing it into a low BR, only to raise it a little bit later. Because I know many of you who are watching this video are probably upset at me for whatever reason, saying, oh, Gaijin nerfed my favorite vehicle, Gaijin did this, Gaijin did that. But come on, let's be honest, let's be upfront. It deserved this. It did not belong at 8.3. Trust me, I know it did not, because playing my Israel 7.3 was unbelievably frustrating to fight the Pumas, because you guys know British Sabos at 7.3, they don't really like to spawn or work, so I had to take multiple shots at people in the Pumas to try to even get them to be disabled prior to even destroying them or even thinking about it. So trust me, this is very much deserved. But I can already kind of see the hate happening in the comment section. So bear with me, guys, okay? I promise, it's my opinions. And so next up I'd like to talk about is the Bakelite Panzer. Now this vehicle, as you can well imagine, I did make a video on as well, did receive a stabilizer for the vehicle, which made it absolutely absurdly good to play. Same proxy rounds, but it did get a bit of a nerf. It no longer has its APHE rounds and has since been replaced by a SAP-T round, which is absolutely terrible. Trust me, I've tried to use it. It's a very crappy round to use, although I might have to use it at some point again, but it was a very terrible experience trying to use it, and the solid round doesn't really like to spall as well as you would think so, but for a 57mm gun, I guess it kind of made sense. And so that is now moving up to battle rating 9.0. It's something that I did predict very well that it was going to. I did not think it was going to move up in a small update that you see right here. But I digress. I believe it does belong there, although it was a little tricky to get footage for because everyone, and again, their grandmother and uncles, were trying to grab the damn thing and play with it because obviously it was a more overbearing vehicle, much like the Puma was, but not quite to that extent. Now, here's where some of the problems are going to come in for the Puma. Now that it sits at battle rating 9.0, I think it is going to be a little bit more overbearing for some of the vehicles around that BR, because around 9.0 to 9.7, there aren't too many vehicles that have a substantial amount of armor. If you take a look at the L44, CV9120, or excuse me, the 105, the AMX 30 Super, those vehicles don't have armor. Back then, you were fighting against the IS-4s, the IS-3s, possibly. You were fighting a lot of the heavier tanks with more armor, although it was very simple to bully them, and they didn't have AP, or they only had APCBC and no darts or any sort of really good heat rounds to deal with the Puma. Now you're moving the vehicle up in an environment where there is almost no armor, although the trade-off is darts can and will kill those things very, very quickly. However, the big trade-off again is you are going to be dealing with very thin-skinned vehicles, so that in itself may cause a big problem, but at least the lower tier has been saved from all of these Puma spams. Because man, oh, it was really bad. And of course, the Zaclam Tiger, I can't say its name, and the Type 60 ATM both went up from went down from 7.3 and 7.0 to 6.7. The the Type 60 is a vehicle that I completely understand moving down in BR because holy crap, is it terrible. You can put that thing down to battle rating 4.7 and it's still going to be outright terrible in my opinion. And the Mi-28 going up to 10.0 makes a lot of sense. 16 missiles, they're really good and decent. I mean, very decent sights for helicopters. No thermal sights, no air-to-air missiles. It does make a lot of sense. So, Gaijin, much respect to you in that regards. But that is all I want to go ahead and talk about in today's Talking Head video. It was a very short one at that too, because the Puma being moved up in BR is a very substantial change. That is something that needed to happen as the vehicle was introduced, rather than 2 weeks later after the update has been fully played and enjoyed. The A10 spam is very much near its end. The Puma spam is going to be at its end, and everyone is still kind of grinding Israel. I see very few vehicles, very few Merkava Mark IVs in-game. I'll run into maybe one or two every once in a while, but the grind is very tedious, or was at the time, because of the entirety of the Puma spam. Oh, man, I'm telling you, it was trying to play my I forget, the Magash and the Shot Cow at 7.3 was a very terrible experience. But this is where I leave it off to you, and please try to stay civil in the comments. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are not happy by this change, but look at it from a very good, balanced perspective. This vehicle was very overbearing, not really at its own BR, but in a full down tier, it was very, very difficult to play against. It made for some very crappy, shitty moments in the game, I promise you. And yes, one can maybe attribute that to, say, a skill issue, which I understand probably is, but let's be honest, that vehicle is more or less, You jump in, you're an idiot, you don't even know how to play it, and you can do very well in it. That's kind of how I felt it was. But again, let me know what you think in the comment section. I will try to chime in as best as I can. If you guys want to, support the channel, kind of help me out a little bit, you guys have all the links down in the description for my Patreon, which, by the way, thank you to Cody and Mort for supporting the channel. You guys are super awesome for doing that. I'll have more content out for you guys very soon, I promise. And of course, we also have the live streams over on Twitch if you guys want to go ahead and definitely check that out. The live streams are a lot of fun, I promise. Feel free to go ahead and click that link and jump on in whenever you guys do get a chance. And also, the 3% discount link. It's down there. You guys know the whole spiel, 3% off. I get the 3%, you get my decal. It's pretty simple. And I just want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to me, to hear my own opinions, and kind of engage in this conversation, while at the same time, I sound very tired, because I very much am. I'm still kind of waking up, so bear with me. Anyways, again, thank you so much. I'll see you guys not only in the next video or even the streams, but in War Thunder itself. Until next time.